Angel reveal. They can't stop loving you no matter what. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because something unseen but very real has been moving around your life, something gentle yet intense, something that keeps circling back to you no matter how much time passes, no matter how quiet things get. Listen to this. You didn't arrive here by chance. There is a reason these words are meeting you at this exact moment. Because someone's heart is still tethered to yours in ways that logic can't cut and distance can't dissolve. Don't scroll, because this isn't about fantasy or obsession. This is about soul memory, about recognition that doesn't shut off when circumstances change. Listen to this. There is a person who has tried to move on, tried to distract themselves, tried to convince their mind that it's over, but their heart keeps returning to you like it knows something they haven't fully accepted yet, and heaven wants you to understand this, not to pull you backward, but to give you peace. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now, because you've been feeling it too, those sudden waves of emotion that don't belong to the moment you're in, those memories that surface without warning, those nights where you feel an unexplainable heaviness mixed with warmth. Listen to this. That's not weakness, that's resonance. Soul resonance doesn't ask permission to be felt, it simply exists. Don't scroll, because this connection was not built on convenience or timing, it was built on recognition, the kind that happens before words, before labels, before plans. Listen to this. You may have questioned yourself, wondering if you imagined it, if you cared more, if you held on too long, but angels are saying gently, you were not wrong, you were aware, and awareness feels heavier than indifference. Don't scroll, because the reason they can't stop loving you is not because you're perfect, it's because you awakened something in them they can't put back to sleep. Listen to this. You mirrored parts of them they hadn't faced yet, parts that needed healing, courage, honesty, and real growth, and instead of love fading, it deepened into something confronting, something that forced them to look inward. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. Silence from them was not absence of love, it was the presence of fear, fear of not being ready, fear of losing you by trying too soon. Fear of failing what feels sacred. Listen to this. Some souls go quiet not because they don't care, but because they care so deeply they don't trust themselves to touch what matters most. Don't scroll, because heaven has been protecting both of you in this pause, protecting you from confusion, protecting them from acting out of wounds instead of wholeness. Listen to this. If you've been seeing repeating numbers lately, this is confirmation. 1111 when you think about them means soul alignment is active, too. 22 when you question whether this bond is real means balance is being restored behind the scenes. 333 when you feel emotional means guidance is surrounding you. 55 when change feels close means transformation is unavoidable. Don't scroll, because these signs are not asking you to chase, they're asking you to trust. Listen to this. Your spiritual awakening changed the rules of this connection. You no longer beg for clarity, you no longer collapse into waiting, you no longer lose yourself trying to be chosen, and that shift did something powerful. It made their feelings louder in the silence. Don't scroll, your heart needs this truth right now, soulmate. Connections respond to growth, not pursuit. The more grounded you became, the more they felt the absence of what they lost access to. Listen to this. They replay moments with you, not just the good ones, but the ones where they felt seen, challenged, understood. They wonder what would have happened if timing were different, if fear hadn't spoken louder than love. Don't scroll, because this isn't about regret controlling the future. It's about truth surfacing now that both of you are changing. Listen to this. Love that can be stopped by distance was never meant to last, but love that survives silence is teaching both souls something important. Don't scroll, because heaven does not allow lingering emotions without purpose. This connection exists to awaken, to refine, to redirect, and possibly to reunite when alignment replaces fear. Listen to this. You may have been asking the universe for closure, peace, or clarity. And this message is part of that answer, not to keep you stuck, but to release self-doubt. You were not unlovable, you were unforgettable. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. Whether this love returns in form or transforms into something that frees you completely, know this: it was real, and real love never disappears, it evolves. Listen to this. Something is shifting soon. You may feel it as a soft pull, a dream, a sudden calm, or an emotional release that feels like a door closing or opening. Don't scroll, because heaven does not stir hearts without intention. This is a turning point, not an ending without meaning. Listen to this. The reason you're hearing this now is because you're strong enough to hold the truth without clinging to it, strong enough to honor love without chasing it, strong enough to trust that what is meant to stay will return in alignment. Don't scroll, your heart needs this final reassurance right now. You were never forgotten, never replaced, never dismissed by this soul. You were felt deeply, even in the silence. Listen to this. Let your heart rest, let your spirit breathe, because love that cannot be stopped by time is either preparing to meet you again or preparing to release you into something even greater, and either way, you are being divinely guided, protected, and loved far more than you realize. Don't scroll, stay here with this knowing. Because the universe wanted you to hear this so you could finally stop questioning your worth and start trusting the unfolding. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what you are sensing is not fading, it is deepening, and the universe wants you to understand what that means so you don't misread silence as absence or distance as indifference. Stay with me, because this is where the truth becomes heavier but also more comforting. Listen closely. The reason they can't stop loving you is not because they are stuck in the past, it's because the connection altered them at a core level, and once something changes you at the soul level, it does not reverse just because circumstances demand it. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity right now. They have tried to rationalize their feelings, tried to move forward, tried to convince themselves that time should have weakened what they feel, but instead it revealed how real it was. Listen to this. Real love does not scream, it lingers. It shows up in quiet moments, in dreams they don't talk about, in sudden waves of emotion that catch them off guard when they least expect it. Don't scroll, because this is not obsession, it's imprinting, and imprinting happens when two souls recognize each other beyond surface attraction. Listen to this. You were not just someone they cared about, you were someone who saw them clearly, someone who touched parts of them that were hidden, wounded, or unawakened. And once that happens, love stops being optional. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. Their silence was not the absence of feeling, it was the presence of fear, fear of not being ready, fear of repeating old patterns, fear of failing something that mattered too much to risk casually. Listen to this. Some people go quiet because they know they cannot show up halfway for something sacred, and instead of contaminating it with confusion, they step back. Don't scroll, because heaven has been involved in this pause, not to punish either of you, but to prevent love from being damaged by unhealed wounds. Listen to this. You may have felt moments where their energy brushes against yours unexpectedly, a sudden thought, a memory that feels alive, an emotion that doesn't belong to your present moment, and you question yourself, wondering why you can't fully move on. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. You're not stuck, you're connected. And connection doesn't disappear just because it's inconvenient. Listen to this, angel. Numbers have been confirming this quietly. 1111 when you wonder if they still think of you means alignment is still active. 222 when you question whether to trust what you feel means balance is being restored. 444 when you feel tired means protection is surrounding you. 55 when emotions intensify means transformation is happening whether you see it or not. Don't scroll, because these signs are not asking you to act, they are asking you to understand. Listen to this. Your spiritual awakening changed the dynamic of this connection. You no longer chase answers or demand clarity. You learned how to sit in truth without collapsing, and that shift did something profound. It forced them to feel the weight of what they lost access to. Don't scroll, because soulmate bonds respond to growth, not pleading. The more grounded you became, the louder their feelings became in the quiet. Listen to this. They compare everyone else to you, not consciously trying to, but because their nervous system remembers what safety felt like with you. And once safety is known, shallow connections don't satisfy. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You were not easily replaceable. You were deeply impactful. Listen to this. They wonder what life would look like if they had been braver, more healed, more ready. They replay moments where they felt truly understood, moments where love felt simple instead of performative, and those memories don't fade. Don't scroll, because love that survives silence is not fragile, it's transformational. Listen to this. Heaven has not allowed this connection to disappear because it serves a purpose greater than comfort. It is meant to awaken, to refine, to teach both of you something about love that is rooted in truth rather than fear. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity right now. Whether this love reunites in form or completes its purpose through release, it was never meaningless. Listen to this. You have been protected from acting out of longing instead of alignment, protected from reopening wounds prematurely, protected from repeating cycles that no longer match who you are. Don't scroll, because protection often looks like delay. Listen to this. Something is shifting. Again, not dramatically, but internally, a realization on their side, a softening, a readiness that wasn't there before. You may feel it before you see it, through dreams, through emotional release, through a calm that arrives without explanation. Don't scroll, because heaven does not stir emotions without direction. Listen to this. You are not meant to sit in waiting or longing. You are meant to live fully aligned. And alignment is what allows truth to surface naturally. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. If this love returns, it will return differently, grounded, honest, and clear, not hidden behind fear. If it does not return in form, it will complete its work by freeing you completely for something even more aligned. Listen to this. Either way, you are not losing, you are being guided. Don't scroll, because the reason you're hearing this now is because you're strong enough to hold the truth without clinging to it, strong enough to trust the unfolding without forcing it. Listen to this. Love that cannot be stopped by time, silence, or distance is either preparing to meet you again in alignment or preparing to release you into a future that matches who you've become, and both outcomes are acts of divine care. Don't scroll. Stay here, breathe, let your heart soften, because you were never imagining this connection, you were feeling something real, and real love does not vanish. It transforms, it teaches, it redirects, and sometimes it returns when both souls are finally ready to hold it without fear. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now. Because what you are feeling is not fading away, it is settling deeper, becoming quieter but stronger, and the universe wants you to understand this phase so you don't confuse stillness with nothingness. Stay with me, because this is the part where truth becomes undeniable if you're willing to sit with it. Listen closely. The reason they can't stop loving you is not because they are clinging to the past. It's because the connection rewired them in ways they cannot undo, and once the soul recognizes something real, it doesn't unrecognize it just because life gets complicated. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity right now. They have moments where they tell themselves they're fine, that they've moved on, that time should have erased what they felt, but then something small happens, a song, a scent, a random memory, and it all comes rushing back, not as pain, but as presence. Listen to this. Presence is different than longing. Presence is awareness, and awareness doesn't disappear. Don't scroll, because this love didn't live only in words or actions, it lived in energy, and energy doesn't obey distance or silence. Listen to this. You may have felt sudden emotions that didn't match your day, moments of sadness without a clear reason, or warmth that arrived out of nowhere, and you wondered why you couldn't fully let go. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. You were not stuck, you were connected, and connection at the soul level doesn't turn off on command. Listen to this. They feel it too, but in a different way. For them it shows up as restlessness, as comparison, as an inability to fully open to anyone else without thinking of you. They measure connections against the depth they felt with you, even when they try not to. Don't scroll, because that's not something they choose. It's something their nervous system remembers. Listen to this. You represented safety, truth, and authenticity to them, maybe in ways they didn't know how to handle at the time, and once someone experiences being seen without masks, superficial connections lose their appeal. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You were not just loved, you were impactful. Listen to this. Silence from them was not coldness, it was conflict. An internal battle between what they felt and what they believed they could handle. Some people step back, not because love is weak, but because it feels too strong for where they are. Don't scroll, because heaven has been involved in this distance, not to prolong pain, but to prevent deeper wounds. Listen to this. Acting from fear damages love, and delay can be protection. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. The universe has been asking you to grow beyond needing answers to feel secure, and you did. You learned how to hold truth without grasping, how to honor love without chasing, and that growth changed the dynamic entirely. Listen to this. Soulmate connections respond to growth, not pursuit. The more you aligned with yourself, the more their feelings intensified in the background, because growth removes distraction. Don't scroll, because when you stopped feeding the connection with energy, they were left alone with the truth of what they felt. Listen to this. Angel numbers have been following you through this phase as reassurance. 11. 11 showing up when you think about them confirms alignment still exists. 222 appearing when you question whether to trust your feelings reminds you that balance is being restored. 444 when you feel emotionally tired is a sign you are protected. 77 when you feel spiritually connected signals divine timing is at work. Don't scroll, because these are not prompts to act, they are confirmations to rest. Listen to this. Rest does not mean forgetting, it means trusting, and trust is what allows destiny to unfold without force. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You are not holding on to something meaningless, but you are also not meant to live in waiting. Listen to this. The purpose of this connection was never to trap you in longing, it was to awaken both of you to a deeper understanding of love, one that is honest, grounded, and brave. Don't scroll, because awakening love often feels unfinished until growth catches up. Listen to this, they are changing too, whether you see it or not, facing patterns, questioning choices, realizing what they ran from, and those realizations don't happen overnight, but they are happening. Don't scroll, because divine timing moves internally before it shows externally. Listen to this, you may feel a sense of closure approaching, or a softening in your chest, or a calm that feels like acceptance without resignation. That is not giving up, that is integration. Don't scroll, because integration means the lesson has landed. Listen to this, when love integrates, it either returns in a healthier form or releases you completely without bitterness, and both outcomes are acts of grace. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. You are not meant to force an ending or demand a reunion. You are meant to stay aligned and let truth surface naturally. Listen to this, if this love returns, it will return with clarity, accountability, and readiness, not excuses or half-steps, and you will feel the difference immediately. Don't scroll, because aligned love does not confuse you. Listen to this, if it does not return in form, it will finish its work by freeing you fully for something even more aligned, something that meets you where you are now, not where you were when you were learning. Don't scroll, because nothing real is wasted. Listen to this, love that cannot be stopped by time exists to transform, not to torture, and transformation sometimes requires distance, silence, and patience. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final reassurance right now. You were never wrong to feel this deeply, you were never foolish for believing, and you were never abandoned emotionally. You were part of a connection that mattered enough to change both souls involved. Listen to this, stay present, stay grounded, stay open without clinging, because the universe is not asking you to wait in pain, it's asking you to trust in peace. Trust that what is meant to return will do so in alignment, and what is meant to release will do so with grace. Breathe, let your heart soften, because you are being held, guided, and protected more than you realize. And love that leaves an imprint like this does not disappear, it either evolves or completes its purpose, and both are signs that what you felt was real. Don't scroll. Listen to this, this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what you are sensing is not fading, it is clarifying, and the universe wants you present for this layer so you don't misinterpret what's unfolding. Stay with me, breathe, because this is where love reveals its quiet strength. Listen closely, the reason they can't stop loving you is not because they are stuck or weak. It's because something authentic was activated between you that cannot be undone by time, distance, pride, or fear. And when authenticity touches the soul, it doesn't evaporate, it integrates. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. They have tried to rationalize it, to place logic over feeling, to tell themselves it was just a moment, just chemistry, just timing. But every time they move forward, something pulls them back internally, not to pain, but to truth. Listen to this. Truth does not chase attention, it waits patiently until the mind stops resisting it. Don't scroll, because this connection wasn't built on fantasy, it was built on recognition, the kind that doesn't need constant contact to survive. Listen to this, you may have felt it too. Those moments when your day is going fine and suddenly there's a wave, a memory, a warmth, a sadness, an inexplicable sense of being thought of, and you wondered if you were imagining it. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. You weren't imagining it, you were perceiving. Resonance, and resonance is how souls communicate when words are unavailable. Listen to this, they feel you in different ways. Through restlessness they can't explain, through comparisons they don't intend to make, through a sense that something is unfinished even when they try to convince themselves otherwise. Don't scroll, because this isn't about regret controlling them, it's about awareness waking up slowly. Listen to this. Silence from them was not indifference, it was an internal negotiation between fear and feeling. Some people retreat not because love is weak, but because it's too real for the version of themselves they're still outgrowing. Don't scroll, because heaven sometimes allows distance so growth can happen without damaging what matters. Listen to this. You've been protected from confusion during this time, protected from reopening wounds prematurely, protected from chasing clarity that wasn't ready to be delivered yet. Don't scroll, because protection often looks like stillness. Listen to this. Your spiritual awakening changed how this connection functions. You no longer feed it with longing or questions. You learn to sit in your own truth, and that shift altered the energetic balance. Soulmate connections respond to growth, not pursuit. Don't scroll, because the moment you stopped reaching outward, they were left alone with what they felt inward. Listen to this. That's when love becomes loud in the silence. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding right now. You may have noticed repeating signs around you, angel numbers appearing when you think of them or when you choose peace instead of spiraling. 1111 when you feel that familiar pull means alignment is still active. 222 when you question whether this bond is real reminds you balance is being restored. 444 when you feel emotionally tired means you are protected. 555 when emotions surge signals transformation is underway. Don't scroll, because these signs are not asking you to act, they are asking you to trust. Listen to this. Trust that what is real does not disappear just because it becomes inconvenient. Trust that love which imprints the soul has a purpose greater than comfort. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. This connection was never meant to trap you in waiting, it was meant to awaken you to a deeper standard of love, one rooted in honesty, presence, and courage. Listen to this. They think about you more than you realize, not obsessively, but meaningfully, in moments where they question their choices, in moments where they crave depth instead of distraction, in moments where superficial connections leave them feeling empty. Don't scroll, because once someone experiences depth, surface-level interactions lose their appeal. Listen to this. You represented safety, authenticity, and truth to them, maybe in ways they didn't know how to hold at the time, and that kind of imprint doesn't fade, it matures. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity right now. Love that survives silence is not fragile, it's transformational. Listen to this. Heaven has not allowed this connection to vanish because it serves a purpose beyond romance. It is refining both of you, teaching you discernment, patience, and self-trust. Don't scroll, because refinement is how destiny protects itself. Listen to this. You are not meant to sit in longing or anticipation, you are meant to live fully aligned, and alignment is what allows truth to surface without force. Don't scroll, because forcing answers only delays them. Listen to this. Something is shifting again, quietly, internally, perhaps on their side, perhaps in the space between you, a realization, a softening, a readiness that wasn't there before. You may feel it as a calm, a release, or even a sense of closure approaching. Don't scroll, because closure does not always mean goodbye, sometimes it means the end of confusion. Listen to this. When love completes its lesson, it either returns in a healthier form or releases you completely without bitterness, and both outcomes are acts of grace. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. You are not meant to cling to the outcome, you are meant to trust the unfolding. Listen to this. If this love returns, it will return with clarity, accountability, and presence, not fear or Half steps, and you will feel the difference immediately in your body. Don't scroll, because aligned love does not confuse you. Listen to this. If it does not return in form, it will finish its work by freeing you entirely for something that matches who you are now, not who you were when you were learning. Don't scroll, because nothing real is wasted. Listen to this. Love that cannot be stopped by time exists to transform, not to torment. And transformation sometimes requires distance, silence, and patience. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final reassurance right now. You were never foolish for feeling this deeply, never weak for caring, never wrong for believing. You were part of a connection that mattered enough to change both souls involved. Listen to this. Stay grounded, stay open without grasping, stay present without waiting, because the universe is not asking you to sit in pain, it's asking you to rest in trust. Trust that what is meant to return will do so in alignment, and what is meant to release will do so with peace. Breathe, let your heart soften, because you are being guided, protected, and held more than you realize. And love that leaves an imprint like this does not vanish, it evolves, completes, or returns when both souls are finally ready to hold it without fear. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what is happening beneath the surface is reaching a point where truth can no longer stay quiet, and the universe wants you still enough to hear it without distortion. Stay with me, because this is where love reveals its deepest layer, not the romantic surface, but the part that changes people forever. Listen closely. The reason they can't stop loving you is not because they are holding on out of habit, guilt, or loneliness. It's because something irreversible happened when your souls crossed paths, something clicked into place that their mind can argue with but their heart cannot override. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. They've tried to rationalize it, tried to label it as nostalgia or timing or chemistry that faded, but every attempt to shrink it fails, because real love does not shrink, it either grows, transforms, or waits. Listen to this. Waiting is not weakness, it's restraint, and restraint often shows up when fear hasn't caught up to truth yet. Don't scroll, because this connection did not imprint on the surface of them, it imprinted on their nervous system, their emotional memory, their sense of safety. And once someone experiences being seen without masks, being understood without performance, shallow connections stop satisfying. Listen to this. You were not just someone they loved, you were someone who made them feel real, and that is why they can't stop loving you, because loving you was also loving a truer version of themselves. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. Silence from them was not indifference, it was internal conflict, a battle between who they were and who they are becoming. Some people go quiet not because love faded, but because love demanded growth they weren't ready to meet at the time. Listen to this. Heaven sometimes allows distance not to separate souls, but to prevent love from being damaged by fear, immaturity, or avoidance. Don't scroll, because protection often looks like pause. Listen to this. You may have felt moments where the connection resurfaced energetically without warning, dreams where they appeared vividly, emotions that washed over you without explanation, a sudden heaviness mixed with warmth that didn't belong to your present moment, and you questioned yourself, wondering why you couldn't fully let go. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You weren't stuck, you were attuned, and attunement doesn't turn off just because logic wants closure. Listen to this. They feel it too, but it manifests differently, as restlessness, as dissatisfaction, as an inability to fully commit elsewhere, as a quiet comparison they don't mean to make but can't stop, because once depth is known, the body rejects surface-level substitutes. Don't scroll, Because this is not obsession, it's imprinting, and imprinting happens when a connection bypasses ego and touches something essential. Listen to this. Your spiritual awakening intensified this dynamic, because when one soul grows, it raises the frequency of the connection, and the other soul feels that shift whether they want to or not. Don't scroll, because soulmate connections respond to growth, not pursuit. The moment you stopped chasing clarity and started choosing yourself, the energetic balance changed, and they were left alone with the truth of what they felt. Listen to this. Growth on one side often amplifies awareness on the other. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding right now. The universe has been confirming this connection quietly through signs, angel numbers appearing when you least expect them. 1111 when thoughts of them surface confirms alignment is still active. 222 when you question whether this bond is real signals balance is being restored. 444 when emotional exhaustion hits reminds you that you are protected. 55 when emotions intensify means transformation is underway. 77 when you feel spiritually clear signals divine timing is moving behind the scenes. Don't scroll, because these signs are not instructions to act, they are reassurances to trust. Listen to this. Trust does not mean waiting in pain, it means living fully without forcing outcomes. It means allowing truth to surface when fear loosens its grip. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You are not meant to hold your life hostage to this connection, you are meant to keep growing, and growth is what either reunites souls in alignment or releases them with peace. Listen to this. Something is shifting again, quietly, internally, perhaps on their side, perhaps in the space between you, a realization, a softening, a moment where fear loses some of its authority, and you may feel this shift before you see it, as a calm settling in your chest, as a release of tension, as a sense that you no longer need answers to feel okay. Don't scroll, because that calm is not indifference, it's integration. Listen to this. Integration is when love's lesson lands fully, when you no longer replay the story to understand it, when truth feels complete even if the outcome hasn't revealed itself yet. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. Love that cannot be stopped by time exists to transform both people involved, not to trap them in longing. Listen to this. If this love returns in form, it will return differently, with honesty, accountability, and readiness, not silence or half-steps, and you will feel the difference immediately in your body. Don't scroll, because aligned love does not confuse, it clarifies. Listen to this. If it does not return in form, it will finish its purpose by freeing you completely, without bitterness, without unanswered questions, leaving you open for something that matches who you are now, not who you were when you were learning. Don't scroll, because nothing real is wasted. Listen to this. Love that imprints. The soul does not vanish, it evolves, completes, or returns when fear no longer blocks the door. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final reassurance right now. You were never foolish for feeling this deeply, never weak for caring, never wrong for trusting what you felt. You were part of a connection that mattered enough to change both souls involved. Listen to this. Stay grounded, stay open without clinging, stay present without waiting. Because the universe is not asking you to suffer for love, it's asking you to trust love's intelligence, trust that what is meant to stay will come back in alignment, and what is meant to release will do so gently. Don't scroll, breathe, let your heart soften, because you are being guided, protected, and held more than you realize, and love that cannot be stopped by time exists for a reason, to awaken, to refine, and to lead you closer to the truth of who you are becoming. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what you are standing inside of is the quiet aftermath of a love that did not end the way ordinary connections end, and the universe wants you steady enough to understand what that means without letting your mind spiral or your heart ache unnecessarily. Stay with me, because this layer is about truth settling, not reopening wounds. Listen closely. The reason they can't stop loving you is not because they are stuck, obsessed, or unable to move on. It's because something in that connection bypassed logic and imprinted at the soul level, and soul-level imprints do not dissolve just because time passes or circumstances change. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You may have wondered why even after distance, silence, or emotional separation, the connection never fully dissolved. Why thoughts still surfaced, why emotions came and went without warning, and why closure never felt complete. Listen to this. It's because closure is a mental concept, but soul recognition does not operate in the mind, it operates in truth, and truth doesn't need constant contact to exist. Don't scroll, because this love was never dependent on proximity, it was anchored in resonance. Listen to this. They have tried to move forward, tried to convince themselves it was just a phase, just timing, just a lesson, but every attempt to minimize it failed because the body remembers what the mind tries to forget, and memory stored in the nervous system doesn't obey willpower. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity right now. They feel you in moments of stillness, not always as longing, but as awareness, a quiet knowing that something meaningful happened and remains unresolved internally. Listen to this. Awareness is uncomfortable when it demands growth, and that's why love didn't disappear. It confronted them. Don't scroll, because love that challenges someone to evolve does not fade easily. Listen to this. You were not just a chapter in their story, you were a turning point, someone who reflected back a version of themselves they hadn't fully accepted yet, someone who showed them depth, honesty, and emotional safety in a way that disrupted old patterns, and once that happens, surface-level connections feel insufficient. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. Silence from them was not the absence of love, it was the presence of fear, fear of not being ready, fear of repeating mistakes, fear of failing something sacred. Listen to this. Some people retreat not because they don't care, but because they care more than they know how to handle. Don't scroll, because heaven sometimes places distance not to separate souls permanently, but to prevent love from being damaged by immaturity, avoidance, or unresolved wounds. Listen to this. You were protected from chasing clarity that would have arrived incomplete, protected from reopening wounds before healing finished its work, protected from repeating cycles that no longer matched who you were becoming. Don't scroll, because protection often looks like pause. Listen to this. Your spiritual awakening changed the energetic dynamic of this connection in ways you may not fully realize. When you stopped chasing answers, stopped asking them to show up before they were ready, stopped feeding the bond with longing, something shifted. The energy balanced, and they were left alone with the truth of what they felt without distraction. Don't scroll, because soulmate connections respond to growth, not pursuit. Listen to this. Growth on one side amplifies awareness on the other, and the more grounded you became, the louder their feelings echoed internally. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding right now. The universe has been sending confirmations quietly to help you trust what you feel without clinging to it. Angel numbers appearing when you least expect them. 1111 when thoughts of them surface as a reminder that alignment still exists. 222 when you question whether to trust your emotions as reassurance that balance is being restored. 444 when you feel emotionally tired as a sign that you are protected. 5:55 When emotions intensify as confirmation that transformation is underway. 7:77 When you feel spiritually clear as proof that divine timing is active. Don't scroll, because these are not instructions to reach out or wait, they are confirmations to remain aligned. Listen to this. Alignment does not mean holding your life still for this connection. It means continuing to live fully while trusting that truth surfaces naturally when fear loosens its grip. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You are not meant to be suspended in longing, you are meant to be grounded in peace. Listen to this. Something is shifting again beneath the surface, not loudly, not dramatically, but internally, perhaps in them, perhaps in the space between you, a realization, a softening, a moment where resistance weakens, and you may feel this before you see it, as a calm settling in your chest, as a release of tension, as a sense that you no longer need answers to feel okay. Don't scroll, because that calm is not indifference, it's integration. Listen to this. Integration is when love's lesson completes, when the story no longer needs to be replayed to be understood, when the truth feels whole even if the outcome hasn't revealed itself yet. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. Love that cannot be stopped by time exists to transform, not to trap. Listen to this. If this love returns in form, it will return differently, with clarity, accountability, and readiness. Not fear, silence, or half-steps, and you will feel the difference immediately in your body. Don't scroll, because aligned love does not confuse, it stabilizes. Listen to this. If it does not return in form, it will complete its purpose by freeing you completely, without bitterness, without lingering questions, leaving you open for something that matches who you are now, not who you were when you were learning. Don't scroll, because nothing real is wasted. Listen to this. Love that imprints the soul does not vanish, it evolves, completes, or returns when fear no longer blocks the door. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final reassurance right now. You were never foolish for feeling this deeply, never weak for caring, never wrong for trusting what you felt. You were part of a connection that mattered enough to change both of you. Listen to this. Stay grounded, stay open without clinging, stay present without waiting, because the universe is not asking you to suffer for love. It's asking you to trust love's intelligence, trust that what is meant to stay will come back in alignment, and what is meant to release will do so gently. Don't scroll, breathe, let your heart soften, because you are being guided, protected, and held more than you realize, and love that cannot be stopped by time exists for a reason, to awaken, to refine, and to guide you closer to the truth of who you are becoming. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what you are standing in is not uncertainty, it is a sacred threshold, the place where love either transforms into something higher or releases you completely, and the universe wants you conscious here, not lost in old questions, not replaying old moments, but present, grounded, and steady. Stay with me, because this layer is about power returning to you. Listen closely. The reason they can't stop loving you is not because the story is unfinished in the way your mind imagines, it's because the connection completed something inside both of you that cannot be undone, and completion does not always look like reunion. Sometimes it looks like clarity that no longer hurts. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. Love that imprints at the soul level leaves behind awareness, not attachment. And awareness is what you are living with now. Listen to this. You may notice that when thoughts of them arise, they no longer derail you the way they once did. There is less desperation, less ache, more observation, more neutrality, And that shift is not emotional shutdown, it is integration. Don't scroll, because integration is the sign that the lesson has landed. Listen to this. They still love you, yes, but love has changed shape inside them. It no longer demands action fueled by fear. It demands truth fueled by growth, and growth takes time, solitude, and self-honesty. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. The universe has been slowly removing the emotional charge from the connection so you can see it clearly without longing distorting your perception. Listen to this. Clarity does not erase love, it contextualizes it. It places it where it belongs in your life instead of letting it dominate your inner world. Don't scroll, because this is where many people misinterpret calm as forgetting, but forgetting is numb, and what you feel is not numb, it is conscious. Listen to this. Conscious love does not cling, it honors. Conscious love does not chase, it allows. Conscious love does not beg for answers, it trusts timing. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this truth right now. They are aware of you in ways they cannot articulate, aware of the impact you had, aware of what changed in them, aware of the gap between who they were and who they are becoming. And that awareness does not disappear just because life moves forward. Listen to this. They may not reach out, not because love is gone, but because reaching out prematurely would be dishonest, and dishonesty is no longer tolerable to them after knowing you. Don't scroll, because this connection raised the standard for both of you. Listen to this. You taught them what depth feels like, what presence feels like, what being truly seen feels like, and once someone experiences that, they cannot unknow it. They may avoid it, delay it, or resist it, but they cannot erase it. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. Silence is not the enemy here, avoidance is, and avoidance is temporary when growth is active. Listen to this. Heaven has been patient with both of you, allowing space for lessons to mature instead of forcing outcomes that would collapse under pressure. Don't scroll, because forcing love creates fractures, and what is sacred must be handled with care. Listen to this. Your role in this phase is not to wait, wonder, or watch for signs obsessively. Your role is to remain aligned, present, and open to life as it unfolds now. Don't scroll, because alignment is what allows truth to surface naturally. Listen to this. You may have noticed that your life is filling in other ways, new perspectives, new peace, new interests, new strength, and that is not you moving away from love, it is you expanding beyond one expression of it. Don't scroll, because expansion is not betrayal, it is evolution. Listen to this. Love that is meant to return will rise to meet your expansion, not ask you to shrink back to receive it. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this clarity right now. If they return, it will not be subtle or confusing, it will be clear, accountable, and grounded. You will not wonder where you stand, you will not question intentions, you will not feel anxious waiting for consistency, because alignment does not feel unstable. Listen to this, and if they do not return, the love will complete its purpose by dissolving into peace instead of pain, leaving behind wisdom instead of wounds. Don't scroll, because both outcomes are guided. Listen to this. Angel numbers may still appear during this phase, but notice how they feel different now, less urgent, more affirming. 1111 no longer feels like longing but recognition. 222 feels like balance settling. 444 feels like safety anchoring. 888 feels like empowerment returning. Don't scroll, because the signs are no longer pulling you towards someone, they are anchoring you into yourself. Listen to this. Anchoring into yourself is the final step before destiny unfolds cleanly, without entanglement, without confusion, without fear. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. you did not lose anything real by letting go of control. You gained sovereignty. Listen to this. Sovereignty is when love no longer defines your worth. Your worth defines the kind of love you allow. Don't scroll, because this is where the story truly shifts. Listen to this. The connection no longer owns you. It informs you. It no longer destabilizes you. It strengthens you. It no longer asks you to wait. It allows you to live. Don't scroll, because living fully is not abandoning love. It is honoring it properly. Listen to this. Heaven does not allow lingering love without purpose, and the purpose here was growth, awakening, and refinement, all of which have occurred. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this final grounding right now. Whatever happens next will not take you by surprise, because you are no longer operating from illusion, you are operating from truth. Listen to this. Truth does not rush, truth does not hide, truth does not confuse. It arrives when it is sustainable. Don't scroll, because sustainability is what the universe protects most fiercely. Listen to this. You are not meant to sit at the edge of the past wondering what could have been. You are meant to stand fully in the present, ready for what can be. Don't scroll, because readiness feels like peace, not anticipation. Listen to this. Peace is not the absence of love. It is love in its most mature form, and maturity is what allows destiny to last. Breathe. Stay here. Let the calm settle, because this is not the end of a love story. It is the point where love stops hurting and starts empowering, whether it returns in form or releases you forward. You are being guided toward wholeness, and wholeness is where everything meant for you can finally arrive without resistance. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what you are experiencing is not the fading of love, it is the elevation of it, and the universe wants you fully awake for this moment so you don't misread peace as loss or distance as abandonment. Stay with me, because this is the final layer where everything finally makes sense. Listen closely. The reason they can't stop loving you is not because the connection is unfinished in a painful way. It's because it fulfilled its deepest purpose, and fulfillment at the soul level does not erase love, it stabilizes it, it transforms it from something that pulls at you into something that stands behind you, strengthening you. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this reassurance right now. You are no longer inside the ache of the connection, you are inside its wisdom, and wisdom feels quieter than longing but far more powerful. Listen to this. You may notice that thoughts of them no longer come with urgency, desperation, or fear. They arrive softly, sometimes neutrally, sometimes warmly, and then they pass, and that passing is not forgetting, it is integration. Don't scroll, because integration is what happens when a lesson has been fully received. Listen to this. Love that cannot be stopped by time does not demand your attention forever. It teaches you something eternal and then releases its grip, allowing you to move forward without bitterness or regret. Don't scroll, because this is the moment where many people panic and think, does this mean it's really over? When in truth, this means you are finally free from confusion. Listen to this. They still love you, yes, but love is no longer the chaotic force it once was inside them either. It has matured into awareness, into gratitude, into a quiet knowing of what was real, and that knowing will never disappear. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this grounding. Love that matures does not always return in form, but it never returns to chaos. Listen to this. If it returns clean, clear, accountable, and present, without fear, without mixed signals, without silence that wounds, and if it does not return, it dissolves into peace that does not hurt to